I finally found the book that Frank Lee Morris wrote called Ha Ha Ha. Okay, it's all about criminal activity. You'll notice the airplane here. It's reportedly to have been authored by D.B. Cooper. You can get the connection. Ha ha ha. Now I want to show you something. Remember that Frank and the Anglin brothers wrote a note to the warden of Alcatraz. And it said, ha ha, we made it. And this was proven by the police to be their signatures and their writing. Now I want you to look at the ha ha. Notice how the H and the A come to an angle at the bottom, forming a V in between the two letters. Now let me get you another picture so it'll be a little bit clearer. I hope, because this is kind of difficult. But if you see the ha, the A, that makes a V, and these two make a V. And the reason I know about this was because when Frank showed me this letter, I commented on the fact that it looked like a V. He said, do you see anything in between those two letters? And I said, yeah, it kind of looks like a V. And he goes, yeah, a V for victory. You know, he was again bragging about how they made it. Okay, I hope you can see all of that. It's kind of difficult with this camera, and I cannot find a place where I can get a copy of that little note where I can actually print it, except this one. Which seems to be very difficult to read. Now here's the book again by D.B. Cooper, Ha Ha Ha. Just a whole book full of criminal activity, but he takes out the murders. Now supposedly if you buy this book, it was on sale for $3 and something when he published it, and he used to sell it at in Ariel, Washington, I think it was, where he jumped out of that plane at. Every year they would have an annual D.B. Cooper get together, and guys would come there dressed like D.B. Cooper, and he would go. He said that it was one place he knew he would never get caught because everybody there looked like D.B. Cooper. And then he would sell the book. The book now costs $150. I don't think it's in print anymore, and you're probably going to be buying it used. But anyway, there's nothing really in it except criminal activity over and over and over, and you can tell that it's coming from a person who is very intelligent but at the same time very poorly educated. Now, he tells you that if you read this book, and there are clues all over the place. There's the girl, look how scared she looks. He said something about that because that's the look that, he copied off the faces of all the girls he tortured and murdered. And he's the judge. And that actual person that's being the judge in that picture is important, but I don't remember why. But he says that if you get the 7 clues out of here, you will see the bonus there. You'll get $200,000. And I looked around in here and I did find some clues. And there's one of them right here. It's on page 188, where he's going through this sort of a mock trial. I'm figuring all the times that he went to trial for all the crimes he committed. And see there, he mentions F. Lee Bailey and Melvin Belli. And if you don't remember, Melvin Belli was the guy who got on TV to talk about the Zodiac killer. And somebody called in and said they were the Zodiac killer. And Frank told me that that was not him, that it was just some nutcase. Now, supposedly if you get the 7 clues and you turn them in somewhere, you get the $200,000. And I looked through here for the clues, and then I remembered that at the end, Frank told me, well, probably the last time I saw him, he told me that that it was all a lie, that you're not going to get any money or whatever. But I paid $150 for the book because I wanted to show it to you guys. Specifically, see how the A and the H come together? That's important, because I told him that looks like the note that you wrote to the prison warden at Alcatraz. And he goes, yeah, it's got that same V for victory in there on every one of them. And he goes, because we won. And yeah, he did. There's a thing on the back about the big score, but if you look really closely down in here are some other clues. There's some type of a, I don't know, a Zodiac sign or something that indicates power and strength. And, you know, I deciphered all that stuff out of there, but it's kind of like a waste of time, and you have to have a powerful magnifying glass to see all of it. And here on the rib of the book, he draws a picture of a, I think it's a girl, yeah, holding a scales, and she's wearing some kind of a cross thing on her chest or something. It's, all of it, you know, refers to clues about the Zodiac killer and escaping from Alcatraz and all of that. And he even mentioned something about these clouds, that it was easy to make clouds because all you had to do was put a bunch of C's together. And I had already drawn that because I was a little bit of an artist too when I met him. That's how we got to talking about this, about not this, but about art and drawing. And I had already done that and said, yeah, that it worked. And he said, yeah, it also works to make birds because there's a couple of seagulls flying around there. At least it looks like it. Okay, people. Ha ha ha. Written by D.B. Cooper. Okay, Frank Lee Morris wrote this book. Now you might ask, how did he know how to publish a book and pull it off without getting caught? Well, number one, if you read my book, My Dance with the Zodiac Killer, which is about Frank Morris, the guy that wrote this book. I've been thinking about packaging these two together and sell them for $150. See if I can't make some money, but this one costs so much. Sheesh. Frank, you know, you win every time. But this book, My Dance with the Zodiac Killer, is written by David Coutcher, but if you look down here it says David Gold. When I went to publish the book, they asked me, do you want to use your real name or do you want to use a fake name? And I go, what do you mean? And he goes, well, most people, you know, invent a name, a publisher's name, and they don't actually use their real name. So I just told him put them both on there. Well, that's what he did. He used the name D.B. Cooper. How did he get it published without getting caught by the FBI? Well, the FBI have been turning their back on him ever since he escaped from Alcatraz. But what it looks like to me is that, you know, I've told you this before, that he was friends with Earl Van Best, who was a book salesman who traveled from, I think he lived in Louisiana. That's where Frank met him, or in prison, one, because the guy had been arrested for several different things. But he would travel to Mexico City and then to California and around different places buying and selling books. He's the guy that if you read my book, My Dance with the Zodiac Killer, there's a chapter in here where I explain to you how Frank wanted to get me to meet this guy to learn how to basically traffic things back and forth across the border. And he was all up on it because I didn't have a record and it was easy for me to go back and forth across the border. Now, my point of the whole thing is the ha ha ha, okay? They put ha ha on the note to the warden. Yeah, you can't read it very good, but I'll show you again. He puts it on his book, okay? I mean, he's telling you in more ways than one that he's the Zodiac Killer. And he published the book. This guy that's a book salesman, Earl Van Best, you know, probably had enough connections that he helped Frank out to get the book published, checked with some publishers or whatever. I imagine he was buying books from publishers too, used books or whatever, and he helped him publish the book. So this is another way that Frank, you know, blows his own ego up. It was printed by Signum Books Limited. I looked that up and I can't find it, so I don't know if they're, I guess they're not in business anymore. But anyway, now, that was one thing I wanted to tell you. The other thing, which I've shown you before, but in the frame of the movie on the, let's see, it's the Zodiac Killer movie. In one frame, you're in the police department, and there's a pinup board behind the guy in charge of the case, and there's not a lot of things on it. And in the next frame, there's a picture there of Frank Lee Morris, his, you know, Alcatraz picture, wanted poster, whatever. And Frank told me that, he basically told me in his clues and riddles that he got into that set and put that picture up there to, you know, immortalize himself, just like this book. Now, you know, I got to find that for you and get you a picture of it. Let me see what I can do about that.